Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today, once again, I am here in front of you with a new chapter, that is chapter number 13, Salah, a pillar of Islam, part 2. Salah means namaz, and it is a pillar of Islam. We know that Islam has 5 pillars: kalima, namaz, ruza, hajj, zakat. And out of these 5 pillars, number 2 is Salah, and this is the most important pillar also, because in the day of judgment we will be asked question about our Salah fast. So simply we know that we are to perform Salah 5 times in a day. How to perform? What are the rules and regulations? What are the important things in Salah? These things will be discussed in this chapter or in today's class. First of all, I want to let you know one thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told in Quran, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Salat means namaz, that is salah. Keep us away from bad things, evil things. It means what? If we perform salah perfectly, then evils or bad things will not touch us. We will be able to keep ourselves away from all the bad things, all the evil things in the society, or what is going on, evil things, what is going on in this world. So to perform salah, the first and foremost important thing is what? We should be very much concentrative while performing salah. We should give the fullest concentration while praying salah. The slightest thing which will take us away, which will take our concentration away from namaz, is prohibited in salah. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about whom we cannot even dare to imagine that his mind will be distracted in namaz. Once it happened, he thought that it had distracted him. One of his sahabas, one of his companion, whose name was Abu Jaham, once gifted him a jubba, gifted him a long dress, which had decoration, which has ornamental works on the waist. So while performing namaz, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam thought that this had distracted his mind. So after the completion of namaz, he had taken this one out from his body and told his companions, you take it away from me and give me the worn out, that means torn, and the old jubba that Abu Jaham wears. So from there also we can understand that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had also given the importance on the concentration while praying salah. So we should be very much concentrative while praying our salat or namaz. While we will perform our salat, we should not think about any other thing. We should not think about our studies. We should not think about our parents. We should not think about our homes. Rather, we should think about Allah, and we should think about our namaz only. Because in namaz, what we do? We actually talk to Allah. We actually come closest to Allah, and there we talk to Him. The surahs, Surah Fatiha, or the other things, what we read, these are the direct conversation with Allah. So we should be very careful while in the conversation with Allah, we should not distract our mind. So in this case, we can cite one saying of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, when it is time for salah, rise and put out the hellfire you have lit for yourselves. He said that when the time of namaz comes, we should get up, we should wake up, and we should go to namaz, through which we can put out the hellfire which we already had lit up by our activities. Means what? Through namaz we can banish, we can finish the hellfire. That means the fire, what is there in the hell, what is there in Duzakh, that had burnt, that had lit up by our activities. We, in our day-to-day activities, in every walk of our life, we commit sins, and because of that, the fire had lit up in the hell. And when we perform salat, this fire will be put out. That means this fire will be vanished. So the namaz through which we can vanish or we can put out the hellfire, it should be very perfect, where our concentration will be the fullest. Without fullest concentration, if we perform salat, if we perform namaz, that will not be the perfect one. Then the merits of sujud. The next topic here, it is said about sujud. Sujud is the plural form of sajda. We are the servants of Allah. We are banda, means we are the servants of Allah, and when we go to sajda, we come closest to Allah. This is the time when a servant, that is we, the banda of Allah, we come closest to our Lord, we come closest to Allah. And it is said that in sajda, whatever dua we perform, and Allah replies that. Dua said in sujud is answered by Allah. It is, however, prohibited to recite the Holy Quran in ruku and sujud. But it is prohibited that in sajda we are not to recite Quran, or in ruku also we are not to recite Quran. Rather, we are to recite Quran Sharif, not in ruku or sajda. In other position we can recite. Here in ruku and sajda, we are to ask something from Allah and we are to praise Allah. Because there, when we ask something while in sajda, Allah replies our dua. Allah gives reward in turn of our dua. When we ask something, He gives us the reward. He gives us the thing what we want. It means what? While in namaz, we go to sajda, and in other cases also, to ask something from Allah, we can go to sajda. And it is known to all of you, several stories you have heard, your parents have said, your teachers have said, that whenever Sahaba Kiram, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajmain, that means companions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever they were in need of something, they used to perform salah, and in sajda they used to ask Allah to give them the thing they wanted. And in return, no, they got also. So several stories are there about that. We are not going to discuss about all those things. Today, here in this class, we will discuss about the conditions, pillars, and essentials of namaz. So we should be very much concentrative while performing namaz, while performing salat. Our concentration should not break at any moment of namaz. But what we experience in our day-to-day life, we find that people are performing namaz in a hastily. That means so fast. They are even, that means not performing all the activities of namaz perfectly. What happens? That means we cannot pronounce the things what we have to pronounce nicely. So to make it fast, no, we are pronouncing it wrong. So the place where we should get reward from Allah, rather here on the contrary, we will not get reward. On the contrary, we may get curse from Allah also, because we have to read one thing, and to make it fast, no, we are reading any other thing. So as for example, I can tell you in sajda what we have to read. We have to read Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Sometimes no, in while making fast, what we read, so on, so on, so on. What is the meaning of that? We even cannot understand, and what we are pronouncing, no, we even cannot understand what we are pronouncing. So these are the conditions, no. These are known as the stealing from salah. That means to steal some parts of salah, to hide some parts of salah, not to act properly in salah. What to do in salah, we know it properly, but we are not activating, we are not implementing these things in namaz, in salah. This is known as what? Stealing from salah. And stealing from salah is the worst stealing. Stealing of everything is worst. Stealing of anything is bad, but the worst is what? Stealing from salah. If we steal something, some money, it is also a bad thing. It is illegal. No, it is not acceptable in the eyes of law in the world, and it is not acceptable in the eyes of Allah also. And we will get punishment for that in the day of judgment. But out of all the stealings, no, stealing from Salah is the worst one. Stealing from Salah means what? We are not to perform the namaz perfectly. Some parts of namaz will be hidden by us, or some duas or some surahs what we are to recite during namaz. If we do not recite them, if we do not pray them properly, then this is known as what? Stealing from Salah, and this is the worst stealing in the world. So here we have to be very careful that we should not steal from Salah. We should implement each and everything regarding Salah while praying our Salah, while praying our namaz. In this regard, no, one hadith is there, another hadith here may be quoted. Allah's Messenger, Prophet Muhammad SAW, is recorded to have said, though a man may perform the whole Salah, he may credited with no more than 1/10, 1/9, 1/8, 1/7, 1/6, or no more than half of it. Here Prophet Muhammad SAW said that a person may have think that he has performed the full Salah, and he may want that he will get the full reward from it. Prophet Muhammad SAW said he may get 1/10 of the whole reward, 1/9, even he may get 1/8, even he may get 1/7, 1/6, 1/5, even he may get less than half also. Why? It is because of stealing from Salah. That means he has not performed Salah fully, with fullest concentration and with all the activities properly. So we should be very careful while performing Salah, because we may perform Salah thinking that we will get a huge reward for that, and in the day of judgment, when we will be there in front of Allah, we may not find that amount of reward, and we will be in confusion. What is this? Then we will be informed that it is because of stealing from Salah. So we should be very careful. Concentration is very important, because in this case, what happens? We are in front of Allah and we are talking to Allah directly. And second thing is, we should not steal from Salah. That means we should not hide anything from Salah. We should not make it so fast in such a way that some part of Salah or some part of our surah or some part of our duas will be hidden. We even cannot understand what we are reading or what we are reciting. This was stealing from Salah. And if we steal from Salah, our Salah will not be a perfect one, and we will not get the perfect reward also for that. Now we have come to the conditions of Salah. We have to maintain some conditions. Without these conditions, no, Salah will not be perfect. Namaz will not be perfect. Concentration is there. And sajda is also there in Salah. And we are not to steal anything from Salah. But to perform Salah, if we do not fulfill these conditions, if we concentrate, if we do not steal anything from Salah, and if we give sajda properly, if we read the dua of sajda, everything, but if we have not fulfilled the conditions of Salah, then our Salah will not be accepted. Now we have to know what are the conditions of Salah. Conditions of Salah, in other way we can say that they are the fards. That means outside part of fards. We know that means for namaz, some fards are there. Those we have to perform inside namaz, and those we have to perform outside namaz. So here the conditions of Salah means the fards, the important things, very important things, fards, those we have to perform or those we have to fulfill before namaz. That means before starting of namaz. What are these? First of all, offering Salah in the proper time. First of all, the number one thing, number one important thing, number one fards or number one condition before starting Salah is what? We are to perform our Salah, we are to offer our Salah in its proper time. The Quran says, Inna salata kanat alal mu'minina kitaban mawquta. Means what? Salah is a timed prescription for the believers. Salah has been given to the believers. Through that, they can talk to Allah, they can get a huge amount of reward from Allah, but it is a timed prescription. That means they are to perform it in time. There are some specific times for salah. We have to perform 5 times salah in a day. What are them? Zuhar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha and Fajr. These are the 5 times, and we have to perform them in 6 times prescribed for them. And other nawafils, sunans, we can perform in other times also, but not in makruh times. Makruh times, what are the makruh times? You got it earlier in IS class. Now we know that that means we are to perform namaz in their appropriate times. So Zuhar, the time of Zuhar is given in your book. You can see it shortly after the sun passes the zenith until afternoon. It starts from the time when the sun passes the zenith. Zenith means the top of our head. When in the middle of the day we find that sun is at the top of our head, this is the zenith. And when the sun passes this zenith, then the time of Zuhar starts and it remains until afternoon. Asr time, the time of Asr starts from late afternoon until just before sunset. It starts from the later part of afternoon and it continues up to sunset. That means when sunset will start, then the time of Asr will be over. Then Maghrib immediately after sunset until the twilight disappears. Maghrib starts immediately after the sun, the setting of sun, and it continues until the disappearance of twilight in the sky. Twilight means what? Not fully dark and not fully bright also. After Maghrib, now we may see in the sky, it is not fully dark. Until it is not fully dark, the time of Maghrib is there. When the twilight, that means this darkness will cover the whole sky, full darkness will cover the whole sky, then only we have to understand that the time of Maghrib is over. Then, when the time of Maghrib is over, from that time, the time of Isha starts. After the twilight disappears until dawn. Dawn, we know that Subh Sadiq. That means the time when the night breaks into day. This is the time. Is known as what? Subh Sadiq or dawn. Until dawn, the time of Isha is there. Fajr, it is between the rising and of between the rising of dawn and sunrise. And the time of Fajr, when the dawn starts, and it starts from the dawn, when the dawn will start. That means Subh Sadiq starts, from then Fajr starts, and it will be finished when the sunrise will start. When the sunrise will start, then the time of Fajr will be over. This is the first condition. That means we have to perform our namaz, we have to perform our salah in proper time, in specific time mentioned here. And one more thing is that important thing, we have to perform salah in the time, the specific time, as early as we can. That means time has started, we have to perform salah in time, but as early as possible within these specific times. We should not make late for namaz. Then condition number 2, this is cleanliness. We have to be very clean while performing namaz. What things should be clean? Let's know what are the things needed to be clean while performing namaz. Cleanliness of the whole body. Our whole body should be clean. Cleanliness of cloth, the cloth what we are wearing while performing namaz, it also should be clean. And then cleanliness of the place where we are performing namaz, it also should be clean. If our cloth is clean, but the place where we are performing namaz, it is not clean, then condition is not fulfilled, our namaz will not be completed. If I have worn the clean cloth, I have selected a clean place, but my body is not clean, then also my namaz will not be completed. So cleanliness is also mandatory. It is an important condition to perform namaz. If this condition is not fulfilled, then also our namaz will not be completed. This is farz, also the outer parts of namaz. Condition number 3, covering the parts of the body. We know that the satr for male, the places of the parts of body, how much we have to cover, and for female, how much we have to cover, this is known to us. So we have to cover our satr. If we do not cover our satr, then our namaz will not be completed. Our one farz, that means one condition is not fulfilled, and our namaz also will not be fulfilled. We cannot perform namaz without covering the parts of our body. Those are mandatory for us to cover. Condition number 4, that we are to face towards Qibla. Qibla means what? Qibla, that is the house of Allah. This is Kaaba. It is in Makkah. So in India, in our country, or in your locality, in my locality, in our mosque, we find that we are facing towards west. It doesn't mean that we always have to face towards west. It means that we are to face towards Kaaba, wherever direction it may fall from our places. From our place, from our country, from your place, from your country, from your mosque. Kaaba is in the west side. That's why we perform our salat, our namaz facing towards west. Actually, we are not facing towards west. Actually, we are facing towards Qibla. The place from where this Kaaba is towards south, they will face towards south while performing salat, while performing namaz. The place from where Kaaba is towards north, they will face towards north while performing salat. So we are to face towards Qibla, we are not to face towards west. Then the condition, next condition is the niyat, that means the intention. That means we should have intention to perform salat. If we do not say by our mouth, then also it is okay, but it should be there in our heart that I am going to perform the salat of Asr, I am going to perform the salat of Maghrib. This should be there in our hearts. Niyat should be there. Without niyat also, our namaz will not be completed. This is also a condition of salat. That means this is also a farz. That is farz before starting of salat. Then what? Wazu. We have to perform wazu before performing namaz. Without wazu, our namaz will not be fulfilled. Our namaz will not be accepted. Cleanliness and wudu, two different things are there. If my body is not clean and if I perform wudu, then my namaz will not be there. If I do not perform wudu and my body is clean, my cloth is clean, the place is also clean where I am performing namaz, then also our namaz will not be completed. Our namaz will not be accepted. So these are the 6 conditions we have to fulfill before starting our namaz, before starting our salat. They are known as the outer farzes of namaz. Now we will discuss about the pillars of salat. That is the farzes which we are to perform in between namaz. These are the farzes. No, this here we'll get 8 farzes, and earlier we got outer farzes 6 we got. If we do not perform any of them, if we do not maintain, if we do not fulfill these, then our namaz will be cancelled. By sajda also, we cannot rectify our namaz. Now, let us discuss the pillars of salah, that means the inner farzes of salah. What are the farais that we have to perform in between namaz? Pillar number 1 is the takbiratul ihram, to enter salah saying Allahu Akbar. That means first of all, the first and the foremost important pillar, that is first and foremost important farz is what? Saying takbir tahrim, Allahu Akbar, saying, raising your hand and saying Allahu Akbar, and then we have to hold our hands under our navel. This is first farz. If we do not perform this, then our namaz will not be accepted, our namaz will be cancelled. The first important farz is what? Saying takbir tahrima, that is Allahu Akbar. Without raising hand, if we say Allahu Akbar, then also it is not okay. And just without saying Allahu Akbar, if we raise our hand, then also it is not okay. So we have to raise our hand and then we have to say Allahu Akbar. Then only the farz will be completed and our namaz will start properly. Then after that, the qiyam. That means after saying takbir tahrima and holding our hands under our navel, then the second important pillar is what? Qiyam. That means we have to stand straight in namaz. In various cases, we will find that people are standing in namaz, but from a distant place, if anybody looks towards him, then he or she may think that no, he is not in namaz, he is just standing casually. While we are in namaz, we should stand straight, and others also may realize that yes, this man is in namaz. From your standing, he should understand that, whoever is looking towards you, he should understand that yes, that man is in namaz. That means we have to stand straight, not bending our body. Yes, exception is there if we cannot stand straight. If we have some problem in our body, then it is exceptional. It will be accepted. But where we don't have any problem in our body, we should stand straight. Condition number 3, that means pillar of salah number 3 is the qiraat, recitation from the Quran. Third farz, that means third pillar of salah, what we have to perform in between namaz, this is what? Qiraat. We have to recite something from Quran. Surah Fatiha in each rakat. Surah Fatiha, reciting Surah Fatiha in each rakat is farz. We have to recite some verses from Quran, but reciting Surah Fatiha in each rakat of your salah, it is farz. If we do not recite Surah Fatiha, and without reciting Surah Fatiha, if we recite some other verses of Quran, then our namaz will not be accepted, our namaz will be fully cancelled. Then pillar number 4, the ruku, rising after ruku and standing erect. Then pillar number 4, that is fourth farz, that is going to ruku. How to go to ruku? To bend our body and to take help from our knees and to make our back straight. That means if anybody keeps a glass on your back, it should not fall down. So this should be the system of ruku. Going to ruku is also farz. Then from standing from ruku, saying Sami Allahu liman hamidah, when we stand from ruku, we should stand straight. This is also farz. In this farz number 4, two things are included. We have to go to ruku, this is also farz, and standing straight after ruku, this is also farz. But in various cases, what? In most of the cases, we find that hastily what people do, they do not stand properly from ruku, and some people you may find that means just from ruku they go to sajda. Sami Allahu liman hamidah, Allahu Akbar. Saying this, they go to sajda. So it clearly says that means the farz is not completely performed here. That's why his or her namaz who has done like this, that means has not stood up straight after ruku, will not be accepted, will directly be cancelled. Then pillar number 5, that is sujood after ruku, when we stand straight, saying Sami Allahu liman hamidah, and then from straight position, we have to say Allahu Akbar, then we have to go to sajda. This is also farz. And sitting up for a while in between two sajda. In each rakat now we find what two sajdas are there. So in between two sajda, we have to sit. This is also farz. And in some cases, you may find that people are doing this one so hastily. They are just raising their head and then once again they are going to sajda. This is also not correct. It means what? We are hiding, we are stealing from salah, and our salah will not be completed, our salah will not be accepted, our namaz will not be accepted. So we have to sit properly in between two sajdas, and once again we have to go to sajda for the second one. Then pillar number 6, this is julus al-akhir, the last sitting for the tashahhud. We have to sit for tashahhud in the julus al-akhirah when the namaz will be over. Sitting for that, it is also farz. If we do not sit, simply in standing manner, if we complete our namaz, then it is not okay. The exceptional it is for salatul janaza. In standing position, we have to finish our namaz. But for all other namaz, we have to sit for julus-e akhir. That means the last sitting in namaz. This is also farz. If we do not perform this one, then our namaz will be cancelled. Then number 7. Pillar number 7, that means the inner farz. Number 7, inner farz for salat is what? As-salam, the final peace greeting. That means we have to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, first towards right, then towards left. If we do not say this, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and then Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then also we have left one farz, we have stolen from salah, our namaz will not be completed, our namaz will not be fulfilled, it will be cancelled. And the last one is, it is also very important. The last farz is, we have to be very careful about that. We have to perform namaz in prescribed order. That means, first of all, we have to stand straight, then we have to recite surah, then we have to go to ruku, then we have to stand straight, then we have to go to sajda, like this. These are the orders. If we do not follow the orders, then it means what? We have broken the order of the namaz, and breaking the order of the namaz means what? Breaking the farzes, stealing from salah. Then our namaz will not be completed, it will not be accepted by Allah. So we should be very careful while performing namaz. We should perform the orders of namaz properly. Orders, I make you understand, once again I am telling, that means the things what we are said to do first, we have to do it first. The things what we are said to do later, we have to do it later. If we bring the later one first, and first one if you take later, then the order will be broken and our namaz will be cancelled. Allah will not accept our namaz. These are all about the pillars of namaz, that is the inner farzes of namaz. If we miss out any of these things, if we steal from these things, then our namaz will be completely cancelled. Now we have some other conditions, other things in namaz. They are known as what? Essentials. We say they are wajib. If we that means unintentionally miss any of these things what I am going to discuss, then sajda saho is there. By performing sajda saho, we can rectify it. But in case of farzes, no, through sajda saho we cannot rectify our namaz. Our namaz will be cancelled. We have to perform it. You have to perform it once again. But if we unintentionally, forgetfully, if we miss any of these essentials, what I am going to tell you now, then sajda saho is there after the completion of namaz. That means in Qaidah Akhirah, in the last sitting of namaz, saying salam towards right side, we can give 2 more sajdas. Through that we can rectify our namaz. This is known as what? Sajdatus saho. You will get it about sajdatus saho later on. So these are the things, these essentials, these are wajibs. If we forgetfully miss, unintentionally miss any of the things, then we can rectify through sajdatus saho. But the important thing is what? If we forgetfully, unintentionally or intentionally, if we miss any of the farzes, if we do not fulfill any of the conditions, then our namaz will fully cancel. And through sajda saho also we cannot rectify it. Now let's come to the essentials, that is wajib. What are the wajibs in namaz? Number 1, this is to recite Suratul Fatiha in every rakah of every surah. In every rakat of every every rakat we are to recite what? Surah Fatiha. If it is of 4 rakat, if it is of 2 rakat, we have to perform Surah Fatiha. This is what? Wajib. This is what? Essential. Number 2, to recite a small surah or some verses from the Quran in the first 2 rakats of any first salah and after recitation of the Suratul Fatiha. Wajib number 2, that is essentials of namaz number 2 is what? After reciting Suratul Fatiha, we have to recite surah or some verses from Quran. This is also wajib. We should not forget this one. Some verses or surah. Surah means a complete surah. Some verses means without complete surah also. If we recite some verses, if it is long, then 1 verse is enough. If it is short, then at least 3 verses we have to recite. Without that, the essentials of namaz will not be completed. If we forgetfully miss this, then we have to give sajdatus saho. Number 3, essentials of namaz is to recite a small surah or some other verses from the Quran in each rakah of salah except the 3rd and 4th rakat of Fard salah. This is also important. We have to be very careful in all other namaz except 4 rakat Fard. We are to recite Suratul Fatiha and after that we have to add some surah or some verses. But if it is Fard of 4 rakat, then the last 2 rakat, that is 3rd and 4th rakat, what we have to do? We have to recite just Suratul Fatiha, then we have to go to ruku. This is also wajib. We have to be very careful about that. That means in Farz namaz, we are not to recite surah after reciting Suratul Fatiha in the third and fourth rakats. If we add, that means what? We have not performed the essentials of namaz. We have not fulfilled the essentials of namaz. We have to give sajdatus sahw. If we miss this one in the second rakat, then it is breaking of what? Essentials of namaz. And if we read this one in the third and fourth rakat of Farz namaz, then also it is breaking of essentials. So here we have to be very careful. In the third and fourth rakat of Farz namaz, we are to recite only Suratul Fatiha. Then after Suratul Fatiha, we have to go to ruku. But if it is sunnat, if it is nafal, then what to do? We have to recite Suratul Fatiha, and after Suratul Fatiha, we have to recite some other verses from Quran in all four rakats. Then essential number 4, to maintain order in recitation of Quran. This is very important. We have to recite surahs from Quran in orderly. That means if we recite a surah for the first time, and after that if we do not get any surah to recite, then the wajib has been broken. The essential has been broken. Means what? We have started namaz, and in the first rakat after Suratul Fatiha, if we recite Suratul Nas, then in the next rakat, what will we recite? We will not get anything to recite. So for that, no, you have to be very cautious. We have to be very careful that in first rakat, we have to recite a surah in such a way that after that we will get any other surah. First rakat, if we recite Suratul Fil, then next rakat we can recite any surah from Suratul Quraish up to Suratul Nas. But in first rakat, if we recite Suratul Nas, then in next rakat, what will we read? Here, what will happen? The wajib will be broken, and we can recite any other surah to perform our namaz. And what to do? We have to give sajdatus sahw, because we have broken the essentials of namaz. We have broken the wajib, and to rectify it, we have to give what? Sajdatus sahw. Then number 5, to stand up after ruku. To stand up after ruku is wajib. If we do not stand, then we have broken, we have missed and wajib. Then our namaz will not be completed, and we have to give what? Sajdatus sahw to rectify this one. Otherwise, our namaz will not be accepted. To sit up between two sajda, sitting between two sajda is also very important. This is essential. This is one of the essentials of salat. This is one of the essentials of namaz. That is wajib. I said no, essentials are wajib. If we do not sit in between two sajdas, then also our namaz is not fully completed. We have to give sajdatus sahw to make it complete. Otherwise, our namaz will be cancelled. Our namaz will not be accepted. Then the next one is to recite tashahhud in both sitting in 3 or 4 rakat salah. To recite tashahhud when we sit for qaidatul akhirah, that means the last sitting in namaz, then also we have to recite what? Tashahhud, that is at-tahiyatu lillahi wa salawatu, this one tashahhud. And if it is of 3 rakat namaz, then we will get to sit twice. If it is 4 rakat namaz, then also we will get to sit twice. If it is of 2 rakat, then only once. So if we have to sit twice, that means what? If the namaz is of 3 rakat or 4 rakat, that means we have to sit for twice. So in both the cases, when we sit, we have to recite what? Tashahhud. If we forget or if we miss out tashahhud, then what will happen? We are to perform sajdatus sahw. Otherwise, our namaz will not be accepted. Then number 8 essential, that is number 8 wajib is what? To perform each part of salah calmly without making haste. That I said earlier also. This is wajib. We are to perform each and every part of salah calmly, peacefully, without making haste. Not to perform namaz, not to perform salah hastily. If we make haste, then what will happen? We may forget some part, we may miss some part of namaz. We should be very calm and cool while performing namaz. If we are not calm and cool and if we make haste, then also what will happen? Some part will definitely be missed out by us, and for that we have to rectify our salat. If we do not, by praying what? Sajdatus Saha, and if we do not pray Sajdatus Saha, then our namaz will fully be cancelled. Then number 9 of essential is to recite Al-Qunut in the 3rd rakat of Witr Salah. We know that we have 3 rakat namaz, name is what? Salatul Witr. We perform this one after Isha, and in Ramadan what happens? We perform this one just after Tarawih. With Tarawih Imam Jamaat we can perform it, but in other cases we do not perform Salatul Witr in Jamaat. So while performing Salatul Witr in the 3rd rakat of Salatul Witr, after reciting surah, we have to say takbir, and after giving takbir, we have to recite this dua qunut. This is Allahumma inna nasta'inuka wa nastaghfiruka wa nu'minu bika ila akhir. If we do not recite this one in this Salatul Witr, then our namaz is not completed, our namaz is not fully finished. We have to give Sajdatus Saha. If we do not give Sajdatus Saha and we have missed dua qunut, then our namaz is not accepted. We have to re-perform it, we have to re-offer it. So these were the essentials of namaz, these were the wajibs of namaz. So these are the conditions. First I said conditions, these are the outer fardhs of namaz, then I said about pillars, these are the inner fardhs of namaz, and then I said the essentials, those are the wajibs of namaz. These are very important. Without them, namaz is not completed. Then next I am coming to tell you about the sunnats. Some sunnats are there through which we can decorate, we can beautify our namaz. Some extra things we can do to make it beautiful, to make it decorated. These are known as what? Sunnat. So here one thing you have to be that means careful about that. If we miss out forgetfully or unintentionally any of the sunnat, you are not to perform what? Sajdatus Saha. Only about essential, that means wajib. If we miss out forgetfully, then we have to give Sajdatus Saha. If we miss out any of the things forgetfully or intentionally, the conditions or the pillars, that is fardhs, then our namaz will fully be cancelled. And if we miss out any of the things from the sunnat, then our namaz will be accepted. It means what? It is not cancelled, and we are not to give Sajdatus Saha also. But the decoration, the beautification of namaz, the glory of namaz will go down. We'll get some less rewards. So to get good rewards from Allah, we have to perform these sunnats also. What are these sunnats? Raising both hands to the ears when saying Allahu Akbar. Raising of hands, both hands towards ears, saying Allahu Akbar at the first. This is sunnat. Placing the right hand over the left hand below the navel or on the chest. The second sunnat is what? To keep the right hand over the left hand. When we will hold our hand here, that means first we have to keep left hand below our navel, then on our left hand we have to keep our right hand and we have to catch it tightly. This is also sunnat. That means keeping right hand over left hand in tahrima. This is what? Sunnat. Then after takbir and tahrima, third sunnat is what? To recite sana. We know that what is sana? Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika wa tabaraka ismuka wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruk. Reciting this one is sunnat. If we do not recite, then it is okay. But we have to recite it to beautify, to decorate our namaz. Sunnat number 4 is to recite Ta'uz and Tasmiyah. Ta'uz means what? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. To recite these two are also sunnat. While performing namaz, without reciting A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim and Bismillahir rahmanir rahim, if we start reciting Suratul Fatiha, that starts from Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, our namaz will be accepted. But the glory of the namaz will go down, the beautification of the namaz will go down, will get less reward from Allah. The amount of thawab will go down. So reciting Ta'uz and Tasmiyah with Suratul Fatiha is also sunnat. Then sunnat number 5, saying Amin on completing Suratul Fatiha. After completion of Suratul Fatiha, we have to say Amin. When the Imam will say Ghairil Maghdubi Alayhim Waladdallin, then we have to say, we the Muqtadis who are performing namaz after Imam, we have to say Amin, not loudly. If we are performing namaz alone, then also we are not to say Amin loudly. In some cases, no, if we perform namaz with loud voice alone, nobody is listening, then we have to say Amin also loudly. When Imam will recite Suratul Fatiha, and when he will say Ghairil Maghdubi Alayhim Waladdallin, Imam also will say this one slowly, and all the Muqtadis, they have to say this one slowly, saying this one is Sunnat. And if you are alone, then also the whole surah you will recite and saying Amin for you, it is also Sunnat. Then number 6, this is what saying aloud by the Imam, one who leads Salat, Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu Liman Hamida, Allahu Akbar, all those things. That means if we are performing namaz alone, then this is not necessary for us. This is for Jamaat. When Imam is performing namaz, that means when Imam is leading the namaz, so saying Allahu Akbar, then to go to ruku saying Sami Allahu Liman Hamida, to rise from ruku saying Sami Allah, to go to ruku saying Allahu Akbar, to rise from ruku Sami Allahu Liman Hamida, and to go to sajda Allahu Akbar, all the things the Imam has to say loudly. And we Muqtadis, we are not to say loudly. And the things what we have to recite in between two sajdas, and when we will stand up erect after ruku, this is also sunnat, but not to recite them loudly. We have to recite them slowly. After ruku, when we stand straight, what we have to read? Rabbana lakal hamd. Then in between two sajdas, we can recite anything. Allahumma ighfir li dhunubi. This one we can recite. These are sunnat. So Imam also, if he performs sunnat, then Imam also will say these two things. Allahumma rabbana wa lakal hamd. This one slowly, and when he will sit in between two sajdas, then if he reads anything, then this is, he has to recite or he has to read slowly. But he has to say Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu Liman Hamida, those loudly. Muqtadis are not to say these things loudly. They are to perform or they are to say everything slowly after Imam. Then number 7, to prostrate in such a way that both the palm of hands, the forehead, the tip of the nose, the knees and the toes of both feet touch the ground. There must be enough space between the arms and the chest and the body. That is, when we give sajda, the sajda should be on 7 bones. Okay, that means we have to give sajda on both palms. That when we will give sajda, then our both palms, these are palms, we have to keep them grounded. Then the forehead, this is forehead, we have to keep this one grounded. The tip of the nose, that means the top of the uppermost part of our toes, we have to keep them grounded. We are not to rise them in sajda. If we rise them, then it is not sunnat. That means the glory, the beautification, the beauty, the decoration of namaz will go down. Then the knees, we have to ground the knees also. When we will go to sajda, our knees also should touch the ground. The toes of both feet should touch the ground. There must be enough space between the arms and the chest and the belly. And when we will be there in sajda, no, there must be enough space in between our hands. We should not ground our hands there in sajda. We should not ground our belly, that is stomach, in sajda. We should not ground our chest in sajda. Enough space should be there. That means when we will perform sajda, our palms should be grounded, but our arms should not be. And there must be some space in between ground and our arms. There must be some space in between the ground and our chest. There must be some ground in between the ground and our stomach. So we should not ground these three parts, the arm, the chest and belly while performing sajda, and rest other bones, that is the palms, the forehead, the toes, the knees, we have to ground them on the ground while giving sajda. Number 8, placing palm on thighs when sitting between sajda and to sit correctly. Sunnat is what? Sunnat number 8, that is serial number 8 of sunnat is what? When we sit in between sajdas or qaidah akhirah or qaidah ula, anytime we have to keep our hands, palms on our thighs, and we have to sit correctly, we have to sit properly. How to sit? In next it is coming. How to sit, that means while sitting we have to keep our palms on our thighs facing the fingers towards Qibla, not like this, not like this. Rather we have to keep our palms on our thighs facing towards Qibla. The important thing is what? We have to sit properly, we have to sit correctly. The correct manner of sitting is how it is: sitting down for tashahhud in a way so as to keep the right foot upright on toes turned Qibla and the left foot in a reclining position under the buttocks. How to sit? While sitting in between two sajdas or qaidah ula or in qaidah akhirah. Right foot should straight, okay, and the toes, at least one toe. If we can turn all the fingers, all the toes towards Qibla, then it is better. If we cannot, then at least one toes should be towards Qibla. The toes should face towards Qibla. Our leg, our feet, our right feet should be straight and toes should face towards Qibla. If we cannot make all the toes facing towards Qibla, then at least one toe, at least it should face towards Qibla. And the left foot, it should recline under our buttocks, that means under our thighs and the lower portion of our body. So it should be in reclining position. Left foot and right should be in straight position. Right foot should be in straight position, and at least one of the toes of the feet should face towards Qibla. This is the appropriate system of sitting in Qaidatul Ula or Akhirah or in between sajdas. Then number 10, lifting the forefinger of the right hand at the words Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah while reciting tashahhud. When in the Qaidah Ula or Akhirah, when we will recite tashahhud, so when the term will come Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah, at that time we have to raise our forefinger of our right hand. This is also a sunnat. Then another sunnat is what? To recite as-salah ala nabi after the tashahhud. That means to recite durud. After tashahhud, what we recite? We made this one compulsory, no? To recite Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Then we recite what? Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. These are sunnat. Then we can recite dua. So what dua we perform after recitation of this durud? We recite durud after tashahhud. Then after durud, what we have to recite? We have to recite dua. So many duas are there. Normally, commonly we recite what? Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi zulman kathira wala yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta faghfir li maghfiratan min indika warhamni innaka antal ghafurur rahim. And some other duas also it may be performed. So some duas after salah, it is sunnah to recite these duas at the end of salah. These duas have been given here, saying astaghfirullah 3 times. We can say astaghfirullah 3 times. You can say even Allahu Akbar. Even we can say Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam tabarakta ya zal jalali wal ikram. Or we can say Allahumma a'inni ala zikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Or we can say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allahumma la mani'a lima a'taita wa la mu'tiya lima mana'ta wa la yanfa'u dhal jaddi minal jadd. This is also sunnati du'as. We can perform any of these. Or normally we are performing no dua masura. This is Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi zulman katsira wa la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta faghfir li maghfiratan min 'indika warhamni innaka antal ghafurur rahim. Saying that this we can say assalamu alaikum warahmatullah towards right, then assalamu alaikum warahmatullah towards right, towards left, then our namaz will be over. Now we got the faraids of namaz, that means the most important things. If we forgetfully miss any of these, then our namaz will be cancelled. Then we got essentials of namaz. If we forgetfully miss any of these, then we have to perform what? Sajdatul saho. Then we got sunnats of namaz. Then to decorate our namaz, to glorify or to beautify our namaz, what we have to do. So we have done everything. Now the next thing, what are the things that will nullify our namaz, that will cancel our namaz, that will annul our namaz? That means we have performed everything. We have not missed anything, any of the fardhs. Then also some other things are there that will nullify or that will cancel our namaz. We have performed all the fardhs, all the conditions were fulfilled, all the pillars were also performed fully. Then also some other reasons are there. Those will break our namaz. What are they? First one is what? The reasons those will break our wuzu will definitely break our namaz too. Why? Because wuzu is one of the essential, one of the that means condition of namaz. If this condition is not performed, then namaz will not be completed, namaz will be cancelled. So here, if someone is there in namaz and suddenly for some reason his wuzu has been broken, then his namaz also will be broken. Because the condition of namaz is what? Wuzu is not there, that means namaz is also not there. So first reason is what? The reasons what will break wuzu, the same reasons will break namaz also. Then the next one is what? Knowingly uncover the parts of the body required to be concealed in salah. Then the second thing that will nullify our namaz, that will annul or cancel our namaz is what? That will break our namaz is what? Intentionally to take out the part of our body which we are ordered to cover in namaz, which we are ordered to conceal, that means the satr. If intentionally, if we bring out some part of our body that should be covered, then our namaz will be cancelled. Knowingly. Unintentionally if it is, then okay. Knowingly, that is intentionally if we do so, then our namaz will be cancelled. That means our satr is what? One of the conditions. We have to cover our satr, it is one of the conditions. And intentionally if we break this condition, then namaz will be broken. Then number 3, not facing the qibla. If we are not facing towards qibla, then also our namaz will be broken, because we have to perform namaz towards qibla. Then eat or drink during salah. If in between namaz, if we start drinking or eating anything, then also our namaz will be broken. Our concentration will be broken, our namaz will be fully broken. Then breaking into laughter. If we start laughing loudly in between namaz, then our namaz will be cancelled fully. If we smile in between namaz, if we act something in our namaz, very rare thing, then somehow it can be accepted. That means the glory of namaz will go down. But we should be careful, we should not do all those things also in namaz. But if we start laughing loudly, then our namaz will fully be cancelled. Then talking during salah, if we start speaking with someone in between salah, we are talking to Allah actually in the salah, and leaving Allah, if we start speaking with somebody else in between namaz, then our namaz will be broken. Then saying the final peace greeting ahead of the imam. If we hastily we are performing namaz, imam is taking too much time, so we have performed, we have read tashahud, durud, then dua also. Then imam is not saying assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If we say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah before imam, then our namaz will be broken, our namaz will be cancelled, our namaz will be nullified. Then miss out any of the pillars of salah. If we miss out any of the pillars of salah, that means the things what we have to perform in between namaz, the fardhs what we have to fulfill in between namaz, if we miss out any of these, then also our namaz will be cancelled, nullified. Then missing out any of the essentials of salah and failing to perform sajdatus saha. Then if we miss out any of the wajib, then I said if we miss out any of the wajib, then what we have to do? We have to give sajdatus saha. If we do not give sajdatus saha, then our namaz will be nullified. Our namaz will be cancelled. And if we give sajdatus saha, then our namaz will be rectified. So we have missed out any of the essentials, and we have not given sajdatus saha, then also our namaz will be nullified, our namaz will be fully cancelled. Then number 10, repeat movements not related to the acts of salah, and we have to do any of such activities repeatedly that is not related to salat. That means itching started in my body, imagine, and I have itched here. Not only once, repeatedly I am doing this one, then this is a reason for breaking of salat. Not only this, any of the activities if we do repeatedly in between namaz that is not related to namaz, our namaz will be cancelled because of that also. So these are the reasons for which namaz will be cancelled, namaz will be nullified. We have to be very careful, and this is the last one. It happens to us always. We take out our cap in between namaz, and then once again we put this one in namaz. While we are in namaz, we are doing all those things. We are itching our body, not only twice, not only once, twice, thrice, 5 times also we itch our body. That means those activities that are not related to namaz. If we repeatedly do these things in namaz, then our namaz will be broken, our namaz will be cancelled. We have to be very careful. We take this one law very lightly. We do all these things in our namaz. So today onwards, no, we have come to know. You have come to know, and I also have come to know. So we have to be very careful. We should not do this. Otherwise, we have to perform our namaz once more. Then the last topic is what? Sajdatul tilawat. So Sajdatul tilawat, you have heard this one from your IS teacher and your parents also. In Quran Sharif, 14 ayats are there, and some scholars, according to some scholars, it is 15 ayats are there. If we get them or if we recite them, then we have to perform Sajdatul tilawat. So it is better to perform Sajdatul tilawat then and there. When we have recited, at that moment also we have to perform Sajdatul tilawat. It is the best way of performing Sajdatul tilawat. If we delay in performing Sajdatul tilawat, then it is okay, but it is better to perform Sajdatul tilawat then and there, whenever we recite any ayat of sajda. So in this sajdas, no, we will find what the marks are there in Quran Sharif, where these sajda tilawats are there. So in Quran Sharif, we can easily identify some marks are there. Sin will be written. In some cases, sajda directly will be written. So for our help, so for us to identify where this sajdatul tilawat is. So whenever we get this, we have to give sajda. How to give? Before that, we have to know the importance of sajdatul tilawat. Shaitan said, when shaitan, we know, that means, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, the mardud shaitan, the greatest of all the shaitans. He said, I was ordered to perform sajda, I did not perform, and for me, hell is there. And the person who performs sajda after reciting sajdatul tilawat, to him he says that he was ordered to perform and he had performed, so for him, Jannat is there. The shaitan goes away from that person, and from this distant place he says that this man has gone to paradise, this man has gone to Jannat because he has performed Sajdatul tilawat. And for that he cursed himself. He says that I was also ordered to perform sajda, but I didn't perform. That's why for me this hell is there, and heaven is for them who are performing Sajdatul tilawat. So this is very important. We have to perform Sajdatul tilawat. If we do not perform, then it will be a great sin for us. So to perform Sajdatul tilawat, what should be there? In namaz, what are the important things are there? For Sajdatul tilawat also, these are the things important. That means the conditions important for Sajdatul tilawat is what? Purity of one's body, clothing and place. These are the conditions for salat also. That means our body should be pure, clean. Our clothes should be pure and clean, and the place where we are performing sajda, this should also be pure and clean. Concealment of one's body, our satra should be covered. That means the part which we are ordered to cover, this should be covered while giving sajda tilawat also, and to be in a state of wuzu. While performing sajda tilawat, we should be in a state of wuzu. If we do not have wuzu, then we cannot perform sajda tilawat even. We cannot perform namaz, we cannot perform sajda tilawat even without wuzu. That means to give sajda tilawat, we have to perform wuzu first, then we have to give sajda tilawat. Then how to give sajda tilawat? It is performed as follows. Very simple it is. Here some ways has been given. Arouse the niyat. The niyat is what? First of all, we have to do niyat. Means what? We have to make this intention that I am giving sajda because I have read the ayatul sajda. This should be the intention. I am giving this sajda. Why? Because I have read the ayat of sajda. Then face the qibla. To give sajda to tilawat also, we have to face towards qibla. Say takbir, we have to say what? Takbir, Allahu Akbar, we are not to raise our hands. Just to say takbir, Allahu Akbar. Then perform a sajda as in salah. Then we have to perform one sajda only as we perform in salah. But in salah, no, in one rakat, we perform two sajdas. But in sajda tilawat, only one sajda. Then recite, while in sajda, we have to recite what? Subhana Rabbiyal Ala, as we perform in normal sajdas of namaz. Then rise saying takbir. Then from sajda saying takbir, Allahu Akbar, we have to rise. That means we have to stand straight. Then our sajda is over. Here we are not to say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. These things we are not to say. Sajdatul tilawat consists of only one sajda. It requires neither tashahud nor salam. This sajdatul tilawat, it doesn't require tashahud, that means at-tahiyatu lillahi salawatu, and it doesn't require salam also. At the end of the chapter, we have come to the last part of the chapter, and here the part was concluded with a message from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger of Allah, reported to have said, when man sinks into a sajda at a relevant place in his recitation of the Quran, the Satan flees wailing as he says, alas, this man was commanded to prostrate himself and he has obeyed, hence paradise is his. I was also bidden to do so, but I disobeyed, and hence hell is my lot. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, that hadith I said to you a bit earlier. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, a man when he performs all the conditions of salat and when he goes to sajda, shaitan goes away from him, and from this distant place he says that I was ordered to give sajda, I didn't obey the order. That's why the hell is allotted for me. And this man, he was ordered to give sajda, he obeyed the order, and for him the jannat is, for him the paradise is. Means what? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this namaz and sajda differentiates us from shaitan. That means from shaitani's activities, in our day-to-day activities, in our everyday life, we are performing sins, we are performing satanic activities a lot. But this one, no. If we perform sajda properly, if we perform namaz properly, and when we go to sajda in namaz, then Satan goes away from us, and he thinks that this man is going to Jannat in the day of judgment for sure, because he was ordered to give sajda, he obeyed the order and gave. Satan was there, you know the story. Satan was there also in Jannat. Once he was ordered to give sajda, he didn't obey Allah, he did not give sajda. That's why hell has been allotted for him, and he says this from a distant area for the person who gives sajda properly, who performs his namaz properly. With that, I'm going to conclude my class. Today's class is done and dusted. The chapter is also done and dusted. I hope you have understood. If anything is not clear to you, you can write in the comment box. I'm there to reply you.